Join us as we go beyond the pixels in the Gamer's Edge podcast, the show that takes you behind the scenes of video gaming. Each episode dives into the realms of gaming and esports, bringing you exclusive interviews with both rising stars and seasoned veterans, coaches, insightful commentators, and industry leaders. So whether you're an aspiring pro gamer, a dedicated fan, or simply curious about the inner workings of gaming and esports, grab your headset and join us on this thrilling adventure through the virtual arenas where victory, camaraderie, and endless adventure await.
What is going on, guys? Please welcome into the show Kingston Robinson, aka Adrian Armour, hailing from Kansas City, Missouri, but brought to us all the way from Germany.
Yeah, all the way from Germany.
I gotta ask right off the bat, are we talking military family or?
Yes, both parents, mom and dad, 20 years plus in the military. My little sister also in the military as well.
Thank them very much for their service and everything. My dad is Marine Corps, so I totally understand that. I did not serve. My dad actually talked me out of that. He didn't feel like I had the discipline for him, and he's probably right. But I totally understand military family, and thank you again to them for their service.
Yes, right back at you, big time. My parents tried to talk me in. And then after a while they were like, actually, you're way too creative for the military. We don't want to stifle that. So don't you even worry about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm glad that we got a mutual agreement going on.
Hey, that's always nice when they can see the potential.
Right.
Well, of course, right now you've been hosting Comic-Con. You've been partnering with the Boys and Girls Club, opening up some stuff with them. You're also now building a relationship with Sporting KC and the new partner for the Pioneers, Quick Trip. Yeah. Man, how the whirlwind you must be experiencing. How has everything been coming together, and how's life treating you right now?
Well, we'll get the easy one out of the way, life, which is crazy to think. Life has been a whirlwind. I mean, and as we talked about before, there's no whirlwind without some kind of progress. There's got to be some motion. I tell people all the time, like, if you expect to go anywhere, it's just like tires. There's going to be some traction, but that's why you have tread. Like we got to get through those things. And I'm extremely thankful and blessed to be a part of the opportunities and the organizations and the partnerships that I'm able to be a part of. I mean, being with the Kansas City Pioneers has afforded me chances to be able to work with Boys and Girls Club, opening up facilities for kids that are not just interested in esports, but it's their passion to be a part of it. It's their passion to want to compete at a high level, not necessarily have the best equipment or stream to the greatest quality. They want to be the best at playing whatever game that they love. And I feel that's always been my a center pole of everything that I enjoy to do. It's like getting people or being around people that love doing what they love to do and maximizing that opportunity as much as possible. So Boys and Girls Club, that's a big one. Quick Trip. Where? QT has held a special part in my heart for a very long time. I went to Quick Trip from middle school to high school through college. Every band practice, through band camps, through football camps. Hey, let's go to QT, get a big Q and a couple rollers. Okay, cool. Hey, let's go to QT, get a bag of snacks. So to be able to not just hear about, we may be working with Quick Trip, it turns into, hey, do you want to script our Quick Trip announcement that we're opening a partnership? Oh, do you want to help direct that when we go and film it? Oh, okay, now I'm on set directing our announcement for Quick Trip, and the kid in me is like, you're working with a brand that's been tied to you personally. And I feel that's kind of the nice coup de grace to being able to work in this industry, is when you get to work with brands that you actually truly enjoy, not just a brand that contacts you and sounds nice at the moment. Like, it's actually something that you enjoy. I've had a blast, and the QT relationship is going to go to the moon. So with that, life has been doing very well because we're prospering. I have an incredible household, a massively supporting partner that she makes sure that even when I'm drowning, that she knows to throw out a life raft and make sure that I'm always taken care of. And that's something that I feel not everyone gets a chance to not only have but appreciate in that moment. So she's been my rock. She's kept me together. Yeah. And I think even in the creative space, it's almost even rare to find because we're such interesting individuals. Our minds never stop racing, so we don't sleep. We eat terrible food at times, and we have these aspirations that go straight to the moon. And to have somebody that is confident enough to be a rock for me when I can't be a rock is like, it's so great. So life is great because of that. And work is only prospering because of that solid foundation at home.
I don't mention her very, very much, but if we are talking about partners, I do have to shout out my wife as well. Right now, man, we have 3 kids. Oh, so this is how chaotic it gets over here.
Okay.
I've got 3 kids, 13, 12, and 4. We have 2 dogs, pit bull mix, and then some weird Asian mix, just as big as a pit.
Okay.
But she is dumb as a box of rocks.
We
have 2 turtles. We have a snake. We have a gecko leopard. And then we have 4 cats inside, and we have 2 cats outside. I obviously do not live in the city.
Right.
And like you said, that creative vibe, like I am going to school for broadcasting. I do that full time. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I stay at home with our 4-year-old. And this is only possible, and I pursue this because my wife supports me, supports this family, puts the roof over our head. It's not always been that way, but she got to a place in life with her job with Target, shout out Target, where she's, directing a store and everything. And, we can afford for me to pursue this passion. And that wouldn't be possible with, like you said, that foundation. So kudos to both of our wives. Thank you.
Yes. Shout out to both of them.
And any ladies out there doing it, shout out to you as well.
Yes.
Well, and also real quick, shout out to Quick Trip, because if you don't know about them, go in there, hit up their hot kitchen, because they got a hot kitchen. Get you a grilled cheese, but don't just get that grilled cheese. Add ham to it. That honey ham with that grilled cheese is where it is at. When I lived in San Antonio and we were doing lawn care, and we'd hit Quick Trip every single morning to fill up the mowers, fill up the truck, and I would start my breakfast as that every single morning. And man, it got me right every time. So shout out to Quick Trip.
Solid. Shout out to QT, man. W promo. I love it's just so cool to be able to work naturally with them. And I know that we're so young in our phase of working together, but we are the first esports team to bring, matter of fact, we are the first organization to bring Quick Trip into the gaming industry. So, we don't have to talk about double entendres with Pioneers, but we are pioneering that wave of bringing one of the biggest convenience stores, period, to the gaming space, to the entertainment space, hopefully to grow even bigger and bigger. And I'm just thankful to be a part of that, and thankful to be a part of that wave, because not many professionals, let alone anyone else like tied to it, can be able to say that.
Nice. Well, so of course, one thing we've not yet touched on is your journey through professional wrestling. So can you kind of tell me a little bit how that journey started in professional wrestling and how that progressed from pro wrestling into esports?
You ready to sit back? This is this is probably a movie in itself. So I was a fan of pro wrestling since I was a kid. I feel we all experience life kind of the same. We just have different shades of things that happen. Because I feel that we were all wrestling fans at one point. And then we all had a phase where we were like, is this something that I thought it was? Is this as real or believable? Or maybe we went through a phase where the gimmicks didn't hit just like the previous gimmicks did. So it's just kind of like, I'm out. And then we have this weird phase where we either jump back in and it's like so dope and so enjoyable and you can just like appreciate the craft, or you just kind of like let it flow by the wayside. But my older sister was actually the wrestling fan in the house, and her room was kind of like the off limits room. But there was just one time she was watching SmackDown and I just happened to walk by, and it was the promo that Rock was cutting against Big Show. And I just happened to walk in a commercial break before that happened. And that promo in itself, I thought was so funny and like so tangible that I was like, what is going on here? And since then I was locked. Like I started renting wrestling VHSs from Blockbuster. I started getting any little the WWE Classics pay-per-views or whatever. When those were coming out, I was trying to watch all of those. And I just started absorbing myself in wrestling. And then I went through a phase where I was like, this ain't that cool.
That phase is called the PG era.
Well, not wrong. But I was like, this ain't that cool. And then I slowly started getting back into it. And then life just kind of went full force. My parents told me through school, they're like, hey, school is going to be anything that you make out of it. So like if you want to finish up school and be done, like go ahead. But if you meet like X, Y, and Z, we'll definitely help you along the way. So I graduated high school around 16. At that time, I had also been doing dual enrollment for college. So I was working on my degree while also finishing up school. And I had already skipped like a grade and a half. So I felt like, hey, you know, they told me when I finish school, like, I'm good to go. I can do on meet. So I just figured I could do that as fast as possible. And having the opportunity to be able to do that just because of the programs and stuff like that I had in schooling around me, it was really accommodating. But at the same time that I was graduating, I was working 2 jobs. I was working at Subway and I was driving forklift at night for no reason. I didn't have to do that. It just happened to be what I did. But within that, life just became blurry because it was job, school, job, study, job, school, job, study. And then one of my friends came by and they said, yo, they're having a double cage match like 10 minutes from where you live. How are you not going to the show? I was like, why is there a double cage match happening in the middle of the country? Like that doesn't even make sense to me. But then once I found out the details, it was actually 10 minutes from where my parents were living at the time. So I went to the wrestling show. It was insane. It was my first independent wrestling show experience that I had ever been to. And before that, I had only just seen like YouTube videos and stray clips of people like in the independent scene wrestling in like warehouses and stuff like that. And I'm like, what are they doing? They're jumping off roofs and stuff. This is crazy. But seeing it right then, I was like, okay, so this is not only a thing that happens, but it happens like everywhere. Because as much as I didn't know, I was actually in a hotbed of wrestling being in Southern Georgia. Like I guess I should have known better than that. But watching that show, a few of the wrestlers kind of pointed out to me, they're like, hey, you're a little too big to be just sitting in the crowd. Like, what do you got going on? And then I found out they had a school. So then I went and had their like trial session, which they say there's a 95% quit rate when most people come in to be a professional wrestler. So they'll give you like, hey, $50, you can come in, do the intro, see how you feel. They say give it a day or 2 for the soreness, the aches, all that to come in, and then you can see if you really want to do this.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. You know, at that point in time, I'm working 2 jobs. I have plenty of, you know, money to be able to fuel a random dream of mine. And before that, I was doing music. I was on the drum line. I was in band. I was producing music. I was also finding my lane in fitness. So I had some things going on, but this was going to be something like completely different off of my karate and MMA background. So something to kind of exercise that. And boy, that first training session, it was fun. But it was a wake-up call. It was the biggest like, this is way more real than a lot of people say. And it's the most that I tell people, it's very much like football. A lot of people think that, like, when you see a big hit in football, you never question if it hurts. You're like, that's a big hit, even though they have pads, even though they have helmets, all of that. Wrestling is very much the same. We know the hits coming. We condition ourselves for them. We make sure that we know how to fall, land, and take certain things. It still hurts. And boy, did I find out that first time. But I sat in the car after that first training session, and I looked in my rearview mirror right back at myself, and I said, you know what? I actually love how hard this was. I enjoyed how much it challenged me as a person and how much it challenged my love for the profession, because not only did I grow an appreciation for it, but I loved it even more because I could understand a bit more how hard it is to do it. And the more that started to burn in me, I was like, lock me in. I'm going 3, 4, 5, however many times I can go a week. I'm going, I'm training. That's just how things took off. And then, you know, talk about whirlwinds. My first phase in wrestling was a whirlwind as well. But yeah, that's kind of like the intro of what got me in and how I got started in the business, because not a lot of people get the chance to just like have somebody say, there's a wrestling school right by you. It just happened to happen that way. And I'm extremely thankful. Shout out to Platinum Championship Wrestling. That's where I started. That's where I cut my teeth, and in Porterdale, Georgia. Whew.
Yeah, I was gonna say also, a lot of people don't even realize, man, some of these, you were talking about the in warehouses and stuff like that, some of these indie shows, and I mean, we're talking thin mats on some of these, if even mats. I've seen some that are just on the wood with
boards. Yeah, boards and canvas. That's it.
Yeah, I was like, man, kudos to you guys. No mat, count me out. I'm sorry. But
yeah, no, it is. And you know, throughout my career, I've wrestled on a few of those rings. I've wrestled in some boxing rings that have no pads. I've wrestled on concrete straight with you know, gimmick matches that are just like street fights or bar brawls or whatever. I've taken my fair share of body slams, hip tosses, back body drops on concrete, on all of it. None of it's great. It's also probably why I'm 30 and I walk around like I'm 72 at times. But you know, there's some give and take in the world.
Yeah. Hey, it can be dangerous. Shout out Chris Carter, my buddy Chris Carter. Broke his neck, came back. He is now a champion down in Mexico and a champion in Houston through Loco Wrestling. But so yeah, scary moment. Was doing moonsault off the top rope, landed wrong on his neck, broke his neck.
Yep.
Came back. Luckily, came back. So
scary,
scary.
Definitely.
But now I know everybody's sitting here probably going like, man, these wrestling nerds, when are they gonna get into the esports stuff? But of course, before we jump, well, I guess it is still going to dabble into the esports stuff. But before we get into the Pioneer stuff,
yeah,
you control a dual role. You're not just with the Pioneers, but you're also with the Level Up Arena.
Yes.
So along with being a chief marketing officer for the Level Up Arena and the director of content for the Kansas City Pioneers, how do you balance that responsibility of both positions? And do they ever, you know, clash with each other where you're kind of put in a pickle?
I think the best thing is the fact that it's a very centric relationship. So basically how it came about is I became a content creator for the Pioneers first. And that was something that I was extremely excited to be a part of, being a part of the premier esports team, content creating team of Kansas City. Like we're right next. It's like Chiefs, Royals, Sporting KC, Kansas City Pioneers. Like we are acknowledged by the pro teams association. Like we are right there with them. And since I've been a Chiefs fan my entire life, it's just so cool to have those relationships and those things be intertwined. But being a part of the Pioneers, I've also been like, hey, how do we grow? How do we have Kansas City feel us as much as we feel Kansas City? I want to get to the point where we're walking around in grocery stores and people are wearing Pioneers jerseys and Pioneers merch, because the people here in Kansas City love Kansas City. So if they get a chance to support Kansas City, they will in any means possible. And I love that so much about here. So part of that, we ended up moving into a solidified location, which ended up being inside of Hy-Vee Arena, which is where Level Up Arena is located. And working along with the team there at Level Up Arena, working along with Josh Gar, who is the owner there, we've just developed a really, really great working relationship to where it was almost seamless for me to like create something or work with the Pioneers and then come right over and be like, okay, how do we take this and execute it to a high level for the venue? And with that thinking, it just turned into, okay, well, hey, if you're going to, no pun intended, level up on the Pioneer side and go from creator to director of content, then our relationship is only going to grow even more. How about you come over here on the Level Up side as well? And you're basically like the glue that puts us both together. And that has just started to level up more and more and more, because now we've solidified and built in a headquarters for the Pioneers inside of Level Up Arena. We have a content creating studio to where our creators on the Pioneer side, but also outside creators around the area can come and film, whether if it's a podcast or stream or whatever they want to do. Like, they can do that in that hub. And our creators on the Pioneer side have access to that by being part of the home of the Pioneers inside Level Up Arena. So it's a very synergy filled relationship. And I don't think I've ever been caught in any, like, I think maybe the only thing that could be close to that is like, we all have a group of people that strive to be better. So there's times where it's like, we will all push ourselves individually and as a group. And there's a level of intensity on both sides, and they're just kind of calibrated differently. So you can say the same message on both sides. You just kind of have to like transmute it a little differently. But we're all hardworking. We all want to do great things for the community, great things for our separate entities and combined entities, because I believe what we have growing right now is going to be one of the most special things that happen in Kansas City. And I actually don't waver on that at all. I'm 100% on that.
Now, you mentioned that you have a space, and I was going to touch on it later down the line, but you brought it up, so might as well dive right in. You talked about the studio space for Pioneers creators to come in and outside creators to come in. Now, I'm assuming that's the NFM studio that yes, y'all just opened up. Now, what has been the most fulfilling experience from opening that to the public, and what made you embark on this journey here to help outside creators, not just Pioneers or people associated with Level Up? Because anybody, from what I've seen, can rent that space and come in and create great content. And this isn't just something thrown together. Y'all have like high-end, top-notch professional equipment inside there that any, weekend warrior per se can go in and create with top-notch equipment.
The goal to me is ridding what I believe is the most difficult thing in the creation space. And that's creating feeling like you are capped or limited. And most creators feel that way now. We don't have a crazy budget to buy the best cameras, best microphone, best mix amp, best keyboards. It just doesn't happen that way, especially when you first break in. And then when you do try to make those moves, it's just like a car. You get your nice keyboard, you get your nice mouse, and then your GPU goes down. Okay, you just replace your graphics card. Now your microphone's bugging out. You don't know if it's the XLR cord. And that right there creates a unnecessary frenzy for creators. And we've all been through it. We've all gone through it.
And that's how a lot of quit.
And I have seen some of the best comedians, streamers, gamers quit because their equipment or the finances couldn't keep up, with the equipment failures or changes that needed to happen. The relationship between NFM and Level Up is to bring the solution to that. I don't want to see creators become stifled because their webcam died for the third time and now they're just, no, come in here. Use the best equipment that's out right now. I want to be able to provide that so that way you can come and create freely. Every person that we've had stream inside that suite has had their best stream. And this is not advertisement. This isn't some like all-in-one pill where you can just come and take it and everything's going to be great. No, of course, it's going to take that same creative ingenuity that makes you who you are as a creator to excel in that. But when you can create with the freedom of knowing everything's going to be good, there's not anything that's going to mess up. And if it does, there's a team around me that is going to help me execute those problems, whether if I'm streaming, whether if I'm doing a podcast, whether if I'm hosting a watch party, all those things can happen within that suite. And we've created it to be like, hey, take the stress off, come in, do your thing, have fun. That's where I feel creating needs to get back to, because now it's turned into, if you're gaming, you have to be the best. You either have to be the best or you get called a cheater because you're good. Or you have to make the most viral podcast clip, or you have to make that's where it's got. Let's just get back to enjoying our creative like juices flowing and being able to create something out of nothing and being able to inspire someone to also go and do the same thing. And anytime somebody walks by our NFM suite, it's completely glass fronted. So anyone can see as they're walking through the entire arena what's happening there. And it's been such a like eye magnet when you see one person streaming over in the corner, and then you have a group of people hosting a podcast, and you got the lights going on all through the suite and everyone's enjoying themselves. It looks inviting. And to me, that's what creating should be. I don't need anyone to do a backflip off a car and have a trending clip to feel like they're validated as a creator. No, go do you, go be you. And then being able to provide that in that case with NFM, with Level Up, I think that's where we've seen our biggest joy. And then we have this huge event going on in just about a week and a half or so. That's another like precipice of not only being able to give to the creators, but being able to give back to the community and being able to do something great and double or triple assets at the same time.
Well, something that you yourself, you don't know yet, but something I decided on earlier. I'm going to reach out to Dylan as well. Tomorrow, I'm actually sitting down with FaZe Gersh. So I'm going to get all these videos edited up. And Wednesday, for my birthday, my gift to everybody is I'm going to be releasing all 3 episodes of the Gamers Edge podcast. So right now, this is Monday, guys, and hopefully you're watching this on Wednesday. So just know if you are in that Kansas City area and you are watching this, go to this event. What day is that going to be on?
So the event is going to be now let me speak to my Kansas City people real quick since we're going to do this. This event starts on December 13th. It is a 10-day, 24 hours a day, live the entire time streamathon. And that streamathon is going to be hosted in the NFM suite that we were just speaking of. Multiple streaming sets, podcast area, watch party area, in a suite that overlooks the historic, I know people call it Hy-Vee Arena, but the historic Kemper Arena. Shout out to my wrestling fans. Y'all know plenty of the ups and downs of Kemper Arena, but it is in Kemper Arena where you will be basked in doing not only something great as a creator, as an artist, as a podcaster, whoever you may be, as you are involved in this event, but it's also going to be giving back. We have partnered with 87 and Running, which is Travis Kelce's foundation. I know Travis Kelce is a hot name right now, but he is also one of my favorite athletes of all time. And he is we've passed this. He is the best tight end in the game. And I think it's just so cool that we can do things like this tied to people like that. And being able to do it in the Kansas City area for the creators, for the kids that are also creators. I think it's an incredible thing. So December 13th through the 22nd is the 10-day streamathon that will be held at the NFM Suite, powered by Level Up and Nebraska Furniture Mart. It's going to be incredible. We got tons of sponsors throwing in a whole bunch of things for giveaways, because we're going to be doing live giveaways to everyone's communities that will be involved watching it as well. Everything from, we're talking gift cards to maybe a PS5, some wireless Logitech, maybe a Super Light 2 in there. We're giving away some really great stuff on top of being able to give back to the kids. So I'm super excited for it. December 13th through the 22nd. It's going to be incredible.
So I've got a question then. So I know you're giving a bunch of stuff away for everybody coming there.
Mm-hmm.
But for everybody watching on the stream, are y'all going to be doing giveaways? I mean, I'm trying to get my hands on a Kansas City Pioneers jersey. When do I tune in?
First of all, we can just make that happen. But most of the giveaways are actually going to be tuned to people that are watching. So it'll be on twitch.tv/leveluparena. That's where it'll be live all 10 days. And I will say actually 90%, because this is something I wanted to do. 90% of the giveaways are going to be given away to the people watching live, because everyone that is tuned in watching live, they're going to be the ones, promoting the donations for the foundation. They're going to be the one interacting with the creators and the moments we're going to have. I plan on working my tail to the bone to have really, really fun, engaging things happening, because it's 10 days. 10 days can get lukewarm real quick.
Yeah.
After 2, it could be like, all right, y'all still doing this? You got a week left? I don't know. That's a long time. But I plan on really putting this together to be just a 10-day fest, to where people can see not only are we having fun, not only is it spotlighting and highlighting all the creators in this area, because that's what I want to do. Not only are we getting a chance to raise money, but we're giving an opportunity to present a stage for everyone that creates here to be involved. Because if you think 10 days going live straight at a historic arena is not going to get some attention, it's going to. And then you tie one of the most famous men in the sports world right now transitioning to the immediate media world with his new boo thing. It's going to, so I want to continue to give opportunities and stages like that to the creators that work so hard here and feel maybe the spotlight hasn't hit them as it should. Yeah, show up to the NFM Suite, request a time, have fun, enjoy your talents in a space where the technology is limitless and your range can be limitless. Let's have some fun and raise some money. And that's the whole goal.
I see you. You're trying to make this the Madison Square Garden of the esports world, huh?
I mean, you could call it that. You could call it that. I'm not mad at that at all.
Well, we touched on it a little bit. We've been the stream's gonna be going crazy for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
The whirlwind that you've been going through here, but I gotta hit rewind real quick now.
Okay.
Because you gave me a brief intro into the world, and you said earlier that it was gonna be a movie. Now, this movie includes winning the UIW Heavyweight Championship, the PWF Tag Team Championship as well. Now, where's the parallel between winning those titles and doing these big events, hosting Comic-Cons and everything like that? And shout out to your boy Murder One for the tag team wins there with you. So shout out to him as well.
Shout out to the big bro Murder One. Yeah, we love that.
But yeah, let me hear what's winning those championships like, and compare winning those championships to what you're doing now. See, I'm bringing the good ones today.
There's a reason why I wanted to feel these in a moment versus like trying to. Okay, so I love this question. Winning titles in wrestling is very interesting because it's not like winning titles in literally anything else that I've done. I did MMA for quite some time before wrestling. I was also in karate for quite some time. Of course, those are both very directly skill-based combat sports. Wrestling obviously is very different, but the things that come with wrestling are also very different than those other combat sports. And what I mean by that is, in karate, if you were to win a tournament, you win a tournament, woohoo, it's time to prepare for the next one, and then that's pretty much the cycle.
Yeah.
With
here's
wrestling,
your trophy, here's your medal. We'll
then,
see you next month because you got to do it again.
Exactly. Same thing with kickboxing or judo or any other combat sport. That with wrestling, when you win a title, that also, it's a promotion, it's a job obligation, and it's also a big signification of it's time to step up. You are now the leader of this locker room. You are the leader of this promotion. You are now the person that when a camera cuts on and you're on it, you are supposed to be the one of anyone on this roster that brings somebody in to buy a ticket. You are the one that anytime somebody cuts on a video and that promotion's label is there, you are the number one candidate to make sure that someone clicks like, clicks play, doesn't click skip, and shows up to that event. And I feel that that's given me a different eye to look at this space when it comes to esports and creating content, because we can be very honest. This content esports space is very young, and not just the industry, but also the people that are within it. So they haven't had the reps in an industry like this to be able to understand that kind of weight and responsibility. So creating content, all of that can be fun and cool when you're just doing it yourself. But when you're part of an organization or you start working amongst more people, you got to start accepting some roles and responsibilities and that gravity of, okay, well, if I am a creator or director of content for the Pioneers, that is almost like me winning my title. Okay, now I'm the leader of my creator crew, and I need to be able to work by example and be able to show them, hey, I'm going to work myself to the bone to be able to bring you guys opportunities with sponsors, opportunities with events, opportunities to be able to rub elbows with some of the best in the industry, whether if it's to learn or collab. But that's my responsibility, and that's what I'm here to do. For everyone else on the roster, I need you guys to have those great opening matches that keep everybody live throughout the show. I need to have those great gimmick matches that it's not my gimmick. I'm not Doink the Clown or Santino or anything like that, but those things work when they're placed right in the card. And when everyone realizes who they are as far as like who you are in the roster, then that's when you put together these crazy events, and they're like wrestling cards. Like I see so much of the content esports game as like versions of wrestling. Because when I look at my roster and I'm like, okay, we need to put together this YouTube video for this, and that. Okay. It's exactly how I would look at my other promotions when I was helping book. I'd be like, okay, well, we got 6 months of a story here. Okay, cool. Well, let's move this person here. They're going to be able to do this. Same thing with YouTube videos. I look at them like, okay, so we got a concept here. We're going to do a 4-part series. Okay, well, this person should start the dialogue here because they're going to recap at the end. So we have a full circle story. And to me, that puts me ahead of a lot of people that have never even touched entertainment in that aspect. And it's not ignorance or that they don't know any better. And they just didn't experience that because not everybody just starts pro wrestling and doing things to that nature. So I believe it gives me a huge leg up when it comes to that kind of vision. And I even mentioned to my creative director for the Pioneers yesterday when we're out filming, I was like, I've been with the Pioneers for 2 years now. I have not yet found my stride on camera in this industry. And he was like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, I'm for real. Like I haven't found it so I can turn it up yet. It's cool now. But because of my previous careers and instances, I have that measurement stick in my head. That's what I see. Some people will be like, bro, you crush it on camera. You're very natural. You talk, you do this and that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but here, I'm like, I got 2 more notches that I can go up. Or I got a notch and a half that I can go up. I can be a bit better on it. And those are the things that pull me to constantly compete with myself to become better. I think that's another thing that wrestling kind of translates over. That helps me a lot in this industry. But a lot of it, just like, hey, I got the leg up on mic presence. I got the leg up on camera reps because that's what they were drilling me. I'm 2 years into my wrestling career. I was a great hand in the ring. I was a great presence and body in the ring. I was a great base. I could wrestle anyone from 95 pounds to 450 pounds and still have a great match. But I did not have my confidence on the mic. And I would get ripped to shreds the second that I'd be like, so guys, welcome to Porterdale, Georgia. Oh man, I would get crushed. So I already have been through the talking to crowds of 12 and talking to crowds of 12,000 and the in between, and doing the 12,000 and then going the next night to 7. And how do you adjust and fill that out? How do you work on that? There's a lot of people I know in this creation space that get nervous looking at their own camera. Nothing wrong with that. That's just a cushion or a membrane I popped when I was like 10. You can go deep on YouTube. I've been creating on YouTube for a long time. So the content creator in me was actually born before the wrestler and all of this. It's almost full circle that I'm back here.
Now you did mention, the younger generation and them getting nervous and everything like that, and you being able to have the reps and everything like that. And it's something I'm going to touch on a couple of different things real quick. It's kind of get it a little spacey. I'm going to bring it all back together, wrap it up in a nice little bow.
Heard that.
So you have guys where not going to mention his name because I don't want to continue to make this kid famous, but you have certain guys that it seems like they either have never dealt with fame before, or I can't tell. I again don't want to make this kid any more famous, so I've never looked him up. I've just seen clips and it infuriates me. Maybe I'm just getting old, but there's the kid that walks around, his bodyguard like punched somebody and knocked him out. He walks around.
Oh, I did hear about this. Yeah.
He's walked around the mall bumping into people on purpose, and when they talk crap to him, his bodyguard comes in. And it's like, bro, you either got so famous and you have too much money now and you had nobody to teach you how to be a good human being and handle the fame, or you've come from mommy and daddy's money and you were just a spoiled little bitch. Excuse my language.
Like
and I don't want to look him up because I don't want to help his algorithm at all. But then, now I'm going to get a little spacey with you. You look at WWE versus AEW. WWE, they have coaches for mic lessons, everything like that. You look at AEW, and to me, AEW just seems like it's one giant independent show. The guys need help. The younger guys need help on the mic and stuff like that. And yeah, you have guys like Ric Flair over there now and stuff like that, but Edge is over there now, everything like that. So hopefully that product can continue to improve. But for those first couple of years, it was dicey. There were people on the mic that had no business on the mic at all. None whatsoever. But now to tie it all back in, you need somebody on your roster, especially for these young, now that we're doing college esports and potentially high school esports, because there are now high schools opening up athletic departments. You need people teaching them how to be able to handle being in front of this camera and being able to talk to people and everything like that. And I don't feel like enough people have the comfortability to be on this mic and be in front of this camera, because once you're out on the internet, you may be only looking at one viewer, or you may be looking at 100,000. You don't know. It's a very solemn thing. At the end of the day, it's only me in my room. It's only you in your room. We're talking one-on-one. It's just two of us. But could this video get 5 people look at it? Probably. Could it get 100? Hopefully. Could it get 1,000? Shit, I hope so. But you never know. But you have to be comfortable enough with who you are and be comfortable on this mic to carry that conversation and bring out that content to have it reach that 1,000, 5,000, a million views.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I tell people all the time, you have to give your chance for that opportunity to happen. People aren't going to see or gravitate to that if you don't give yourself to do it. There's a lot of creators I know that are like, I'm going to post this video, but it's probably going to get like 10 or 50 views or whatever. And I'm like, okay, post it. Like what? Because what if it gets more? Okay, what if actually one of the 50 people that you watched it needed to hear what you created? That is the one person that you're going to get. Yes, it may be one like and one subscriber now, but that's the person that tomorrow they're going to talk about your video to their closest friend, and that person's going to watch it. And they're going to be like, wow, I understand why my friend was so invested in this. Like, subscribe. And then that is the real tangible momentum that you would want as a creator. Yes, do we want the days where thousands of people flood to our content and 500, 600,000 subscribers show up out of nowhere? Yes, because this industry is so volatile that, of course, we would love for that to happen. But when it really comes down to it, you want the ones that aren't just going to show up in that big spike. You want the ones that are going to be with you the whole time. And those are your real, tangible fans that you connect with directly. And I feel not only do the kids in this industry and the ones that get to grow within this industry, whether if it starts at high school or goes all the way through, because I mean, we're working with HSCL going towards one of our big events, the High School Esports League, and we're bringing their finale to our biggest event. And we're going to allow some of the kids, at least, top 5, top 8 that qualify out of there to compete in our Apex tournament, which last year had, I don't know, ALGS world champ Verhulst from TSM a part of it. Also, actually, all of the Verhulst brothers were in it last year, so they were all there. We had Fallout hosting it. Like there's just so many opportunities with it, and that's another thing to me where it's like we have a chance to help what is going to end up being the standard or the structure of how esports is taught from high school through collegiate, through all of that. And we're giving the opportunities to these kids to get pro reps that they are not getting here in the Midwest. We have an arena where you can come in and yes, you're going to have to look right at your competitor. And then you're going to have to look at the grand stage and be like, that's where I want to go. And this team is stopping me from getting there. Let's compete to the highest level. And then guess what? Afterwards, you got to do media interviews. You got to do pictures. You got to learn how to do this stuff on the mic and camera because that is part of it. Just wait till your team is flying over to Europe and you got to do it in Paris. Well, guess what? The training wheels are off. You got to be a professional now. And getting these reps early, to me, are the most important things, especially when it comes to high school and collegiate.
And just to touch on a previous episode real quick and to implement how great that is, because when I was talking with Rambo, Bo, of course now on Native Gaming, he was on a roster, then he got asked to be a substitute, and he flew over to Europe, competed at the ALGS, as a substitute, just called up, hey, we need you. Okay. Torrent, he ends up going on and competing with Torrent, has this big aha moment where he gets the game-winning kill. All eyes are on him, and he blows up, and now he's on Native. He's been on he's been on Sentinels. He's been on Darkest Hour. He's a 3-time ALGS, champion, or not champion, excuse me, MVP, 3-time. And the big come up was he got picked up as a substitute for this thing real quick. So if you have these reps and you know what to do, you just never know. You could be at that aha moment at any given time.
Yeah. This just a few months ago, at Midwest Fest 2023, we had a 10-year-old. His Twitter handle is Lil Fred's son. We had a 10-year-old where his gaming hero is Verhulst. Got him in Apex, That's who he looks up to. Him and Verholster in the same building. He not only gets to meet his hero, but played him 2 rounds throughout this tournament and beat him in 1. This 10-year-old got to experience his first LAN, play against his hero, and beat him, and then have him interview him afterwards. I know for a fact when he first walked in here, he did not think that that was going to be the case. His parents probably didn't think that would be the case. We, as organizers of the event, had no idea that this was going to happen. But those are moments in stories that when you excel in the moment and you give yourself the shot, you can go. And now that kid, that kid is going to be like one of the hottest free agents out there, but he's going to be able to get the reps and be able to become a professional in this game. And that's what I think is missing so far in this esports content creation, which is why I believe when people get to the peak, that's where the drop off is so hard. You see people like having their bodyguard hit people, or you see people have some crazy controversial clip happen on their stream because their natural self is coming out because they didn't have the reps to become a professional and become I don't want to say stable because that puts a little much on it, but being a professional is real. You have to be even killed, and you have to know when you're especially when you're live, you got to be able to have that professional integrity, and getting those reps is important into becoming that professional because we're also independent business owners.
Yep.
So that is a huge deal when it comes to that. And I believe any pro player, any creator can be way bigger than any org that they are ever a part of. But when you're alongside an org and you're also a professional and you're also, I don't know, a pro player that's really, really good, you can make a living. And I mean a living for you and yours. And if they pick up a controller, well, here we go. You know, now we got some generational things going on. That's the beautiful flourishing thing about this industry. Is still so young. And we have a chance to be able to establish these structures to make it more stable for it to, I want all esports to have the longevity as the NFL. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to be able to see, because I'm starting to see clips now of high schools and their stadiums they're packed. Their high school gyms are for Rocket League.
Yeah, I was about to say that rivalry that just happened, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Like but things like that they're so incredible. They're so genuine, because if I had something like that at my school for, like, I don't know, I guess it would have had to been like Madden 2005 or like I don't know, any of the Street Fighters or Mortal Kombat. I definitely could have been a fighting game guy, a bit younger. I would have thrived for that in school. And the fact that that is becoming more and more prominent, I kudos. I love it. But it's all about establishing, hey, how do we take this from a casual thing to, if you want to make it a profession, how do we make you a professional in it?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, like I was telling you off camera, I'm in my 30s and stuff, so this wasn't super around. I've loved gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the youngest of 4. I've been gaming since I could hold a controller, thanks to my brothers. But it's like, I don't remember what year Brett Favre was on the cover, and then he signed with the Jets, and then they had to relieve. That year, Walmart in my town hosted a tournament, and the winner got a free Xbox with that copy of Madden, and you got put into the big, like, 500 person tournament in Houston, and I won it. And I went to Houston and I placed top 100. I didn't win the whole thing, but I placed top 100 out of 500. Hey. And massive tournament. But if this was around to cultivate when I was younger, who knows?
Yeah.
You just never know. But unfortunately, Father Time, he's got to work his magic for everything to come to fruition.
Hey, but there's always a time and place. I don't think a door ever closes. I think sometimes, maybe it may kind of like be a little hard to open back, but I don't think any door closes. Just like as we said before, life is too short. Let's grab all the ones that we can get. That's why, like, when I look at my life sometimes, I'm okay. I just turned 30 in October, and I pursued wrestling. Still, right now, the longest reigning champion in the Southeast to this day. I've beaten the likes in that record breaking, the likes of Goldust, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, several other people that won that title, Robbie E. and others. I've been able to rub elbows and make great friends with guys like Eddie Kingston. I've First of all, shout out Eddie Kingston. I know we talked about AEW a little bit earlier, and I believe that my guy Eddie is one of the ones that every time he grabs one of these, it's just gold. And I love Eddie as a dude. Eddie has always been a great professional and a great professional friend for me, especially in wrestling. So, but being able to rub elbows with guys like him, being able to work with guys like Sabu and Darby Allin and Scott Hall,
with the classic Sabu.
Oh, trust me, I had my first slow-mo in like IRL moment when I'm looking at Sabu and a chair is coming from a office, and I'm like, so this is what everyone in ECW and this is what they were looking at before they got knocked out by some inanimate object that this man threw. And then I got hit with that chair and I laid on the ground. I was like, you know what? I'm so glad he's not in his prime. I would have got cooked by this chair. But Sabu, great person. I don't think I've ever really ran into anyone that was like, oh, childhood, and then like crushed it, because Tommy Dreamer was great. Scott Hall, rest in peace. One of the dogs that I appreciate. He always a great person to me.
Shout out to the bad guy.
I wish I had a toothpick right now. Man, oh man. But I've had a lot of really great people that I've gotten to experience, whether if it was moments or matches or whatever with. But I've gotten to do that. I've gotten to hold several different titles. I've gotten to do different martial arts. I've gone as far as being an apprentice for one of my teachers because he owned his own culinary business. So I love to cook. Cooking is another thing. Producing music. I played guitar, bass, saxophone, all kinds of percussion, all of that. And I just feel that every second that ticks in life, you have a chance to do something new or something that you love, or expand your horizons to something that you may have never thought existed. And also, one thing that I think we all forget, we can take that time to relax. Like, especially in this space, we have this fleeting thought of like, oh, if I don't create something, or if I don't post something, or if I don't say something, I'm forgotten. My traction's gone. The algorithm will forget about me. My post won't hit as hard as if I'm not consistent. Sometimes we can just rest. We can relax. We can clear our head, because guess what? That next concept we're going to drop is going to be way better and way more thought out and way more fleshed out when you give yourself the time to like let the steam valve go and let that out for a little bit and be like, okay, I can do this now. And I think that's so important.
Great. You did mention, this our one go round. I'll say my dad's given me 2 pieces of advice when I was younger, and I have tried to live my life by those 2 things. Well, and you at your age, at your point in your family life, I know you'll reflect on both. For everybody younger, keep this in mind as you grow up, because it is probably some of the best advice I've ever received from anybody. And I don't know who told it to my dad. I know there's no way my dad came up with it. So shout out whoever told my dad. He said, son, when my wife got pregnant, he said, son, no matter what job you've had before and what job you have as your career afterwards, your hardest job in life now is raising decent human beings. And that just snapped in my head. Like, and it has been the hardest job I've ever had, is making sure my kids know right from wrong, and growing up being respectful. Number 2 is when, we didn't grow up with a lot of money. My dad was the only one that worked. He worked 3 jobs. Again, it was me and 3 brothers. My mom didn't work. She was stay-at-home mom, because that's how my dad was. That Marine Corps mentality.
Yeah. Totally understand.
And he sat me down and said, hey, I make enough to keep y'all in video games and buying the pay-per-views on Sundays, not premium live events. They are pay-per-views. And, you'd have to go rent the box from the cable company and do all that jazz to watch the pay-per-views and stuff like that. And he said, man, no matter how rich or how poor you are in life, no matter how many hours you go in and work, it doesn't matter because you cannot buy more time here on earth. So use it wisely. And that's how I've lived my life.
That is the truth. 1,000%. That is the truth. Man, we love that. We love that.
Well, I know we originally said this is going to be like 30 minutes, and here we are over an hour into this. So we'll start going, wrapping it down, unwinding a little bit here. So I'll hit you with 2 last questions.
Okay.
Now I'm going to hit you with both at the same time. Answer them in whatever order that you want. They kind of coexist here.
Okay.
But looking back on the past, looking back at your daughter's career, both in wrestling and esports, what particular moment stands out as your favorite, standing on top of all the rest? And then looking at your future, what goals and aspirations in the world of esports do you have? And how do you plan on continuing to make such a large impact into this industry?
Okay. I'll answer these in order. Honestly, the first thing that comes out as far as like a standout moment is honestly the first Boys and Girls Club event that I got to be a part of. There is something about being able to connect with the youth in the way of it's in line with their passion, but then you also get a chance to bring somebody that was never even interested and see the love that they could have for something that they love. And when you see that moment happen to them in the moment, it's almost very undescribable how that feels. But the very first Boys and Girls Club event that I was a part of, I did a presentation with the kids to basically just talk to them about what it's like being a content creator and being in that space. And most people during our like session with them had like PowerPoint slides and stuff like that. And my whole thought was like, I was a kid, I would just rather have somebody be real and just talk with me. Like I see PowerPoint slides all the time, whether if it's school or at home or some lesson, whatever, like just be real with me. So I decided like, hey, no PowerPoint. I'm just going to talk to them. And I'm just going to speak how I feel and let it go from there. And there's a point in time in that interview where I asked them like, okay, I've talked about what I like to create and what I like to do, but what do you like to do? And each person that I asked, it was something different, but I immediately gave them a creator or a YouTube channel or something that specializes in that thing. And when each person saw that, whether if they like to play Fortnite or do wood carving or dance or do makeup or when I was starting to give them different people and they were starting to see how tangible something that they loved could also be something that they do for content or a career or whatever, the sparks and the fireworks that were going off. And I'm like, we're getting a chance to open a book to these kids that they didn't even know was written. And I think that's really, really special. But when it comes to the second question, my entire goal when it comes to Level Up, Kansas City Pioneers, combined or separate, my big goal is to create opportunities for the creators. I've been on both ends of being able to create at a high level with no bounds or limitations involved. And I've also been to the point where like the only way I could create anything is just like off of my phone. And I'm like, I hope that this hits, or I hope that this clip goes well, or I hope someone caught that move during that wrestling match. There's only like 2 people here, but if I got a clip of it, that'd be really nice. I just want to give stages and opportunities to creators and pro players out here to excel in something that they love. I think we are in this very strange time in the world where it's almost frowned upon to express how passionate you can be about something you love. It's almost frowned upon to show your happiness in something that you're excelling in. You either blow up and you have to act like some type of way because you're succeeding, or people think that you've sold yourself off and that's the only reason why you are succeeding in that kind of way. And it's like, I want to be able to give the chances for kids, whether if they're in high school, middle school, whatever, to see a career that they love and that they know that they can flourish in, but just know it takes hard work and passion to fuel you to where you want to go. But I want to give those opportunities for that. And I'm going to do it here in Kansas City. I'm going to do it here in the surrounding areas. I think where our headquarters is right now, we're literally surrounded by construction. But every time that I pull up to work, I look around and I'm growing with you. Like I tell the construction and all that, I'm growing with you, because by the time that everything is built and there's going to be this like entertainment bridge and all this I want to feel like I have also brought another main stage to this district. And that main stage is going to be for the creators, podcasters, artists, photographers, videographers, like all of them. I want Kansas City to feel that and feel full in that, to where no matter what, if you think about creating content and you think about Kansas City, Level Up, Pioneers, Adrian Armour, Kingston Robinson, I want that to be so synonymous in opportunities and creating. Like that's my biggest goal.
Nice. I think that is extremely worthwhile. Like, I wish there was more people that had that passion. I've been super blessed to be able to talk to everybody so far that has had that fire, had that passion. Like I said, though, I think there are some that just unfortunately get famous and shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I think that's in every single industry that there is that people. But as long as there are more people like yourself, like Rain Day, like Rambo, like Dylan, like Flame Sword, everybody that's been on so far, that I owe so much to you guys for allowing me to express my creativeness in bringing this podcast to life and bringing the Gamers Edge podcast to life. Like, I owe y'all so much, and I cannot thank you enough for coming on, taking this time with me and stuff like that. I'm going to end the show with another quote from a previous guest.
Love these.
And Rain Day, Evan, he said, very first guest, he said, he recommends everybody start YouTube. It is a long journey. It is a journey of 1,000 steps. Scratch that. It is a journey of 100,000 steps. But until you make that first one, you'll never see how great it is. So take that first step. If you are wondering what to do and you're in the Kansas City area, go hang out at Level Up. Get with Adrian. He will put the armor on you and level you up to put you out in front of that camera. And if not, reach out to me. Reach out to Adrian. If you're in New York, it don't matter where you're at. We, as a community, should be bonding together, helping each other out. So reach out. You know, we love this stuff. So if we can help and leave a hint of a mark on you and help you in any way, be glad to.
That is a fact.
Thank you again so much for coming on. I know you're Kansas City, but Patrick Mahomes, guns up, baby. My Texas Tech flag is out in the garage, but I have the double T's tattooed on the back of my leg. So guns up.
Love that. Love that. And I'm going to give you your flowers, even though you sent me out on mine. I appreciate you for being a professional. I appreciate you for doing the due diligence and doing your research and preparing. There are not many that still do. They rely on quick, fast information. They rely on clickbait videos, and they rely on the short term. You dig in, you do your work, and I appreciate you for that. I will tell you right now, I stopped doing media for a very long time because there aren't people that are willing to do the work to make it right. And I appreciate, and that's why when I saw your first set of questions, I said, you know what, we're gonna do this. We once we figure out that we're gonna do it, because I can see the prep work, and I appreciate you for that, because that allows those like me and others to have confidence in the fact that, yeah, we can speak truly from us, because the person on the other side of the microphone, which isn't always the case, takes the same time and passion to prepare for this as well. So I appreciate you for taking out the time to make this all happen.
Well, thank you for not only for that, but for coming on again. But of course, guys, if you have not checked out any of the previous episodes, what are you doing? Go check them out. Of course, this is now, if you're watching this on the day it's released, it is December 6th. So happy birthday to me. And my gift to y'all is, of course, this episode. If this is your first time checking out the Gamers Edge podcast, there's 2 more episodes dropping today. So make sure you go check out FaZe Gersh talking with me on what it takes to be a social media manager for such a big place like FaZe, as well as being an executive producer on the Flank podcast. Or if that's not your cup of tea, go check out the episode with Dylan Pomeroy, who is the Oxygen Esports Director of Partnerships. So go learn what it took for him. He talked about how he used to sleep in his car to make sure he could go out and do what he had to do, have that drive, have that passion. So make sure you go check out those. Or if you're sitting at home and you're like, man, I think I want to start up a business, go check out the episode with Flamesword where he talks about building status quo, being the founder, being the CEO of a now big time esports, competing in Apex, competing in Halo, having the free-for-all champion from the previous year. So all these episodes are on there. Go see Rain Day talk about what it took to start on YouTube and everything like that. Talk about Rambo's biggest thing in life, and when he said this, my respect shot through the roof for Rambo. His biggest moment in esports wasn't winning the championship. It was he took his mom with him over to Europe when he played in the ALGS. So the fact that he could travel the world playing a video game and take his mom and share that with her, that was his biggest moment for his career. And kudos to him for that. Spaceman, Sean Rogers, of course, did an episode with him, and I had no idea he was majoring. Oh my God, I'm blanking out. I'm thinking The Big Bang Theory. Well, what is it when you study all that, like the dark matter and how the world started? Oh my goodness, Sean, I'm sorry, brother. I just goofed on what the major is. But Sean was actually majoring in that, astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Sean was majoring in astrophysics and switched and started majoring in marketing, and then got into esports. That is such the draw and such the community that esports is trying to build around. Again, Complexity, Nick, Ashes, who is winningest console player, hearing the drive that he said, hey, I'm not that good at the game. He plays, but he knew he was not going to make it competitively, but he had the mind for it, and he started coaching at such a young age, and he is now the winningest coach. 32, or no, was it 32? Somewhere right around there. He is the winningest coach in console esports history because he had the mind for it and knew, and that's where it carried him. And he is now the director at Complexity for competitive side. So the guests that I've had on, including yourself, y'all have leveled me up for sure. And I can't thank y'all enough. So go check out those episodes, just so y'all know. Sorry to do such a big plug in it, but I just want y'all to know the passion and love from everybody that's been on so far, and the passion and love that I have for each of you guys, and for allowing me to express this to y'all. Thank you.
Yes. Hey, shout out to everybody listening, watching the Gamers Edge podcast. Drop a like or drop a subscription. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. If you're not following, you're not subscribed, you're making a mistake. If you didn't hear the list of banger guests that he's got going on, come on, go ahead. Matter of fact, triple tap that rewind button, listen to it again. Make sure you drop a like if you didn't already. Let's get it going, because we're dropping gems out here, and these are professionals in the game, not just novices. Speaking of sleeping in cars, that's how I know. That's almost my litmus test of like, have you been through it? Yes. Even if it's just one night, like that, those kind of things, that kind of dedication to the craft or whatever that you're doing, where you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to try to get as comfortable as possible. And we're going to suffer it out, because whatever I'm doing this for, it's well worth it to me. And that right there is one of the strongest like connections to a passion possible.
100% agree. But until next time, guys, make sure again you're hitting the follow, hit the subscribe. Thank you for your time. I cannot thank you guys enough as viewers for tuning in, checking us out. But until next time, guys, peace.